Howdy, we're back for our second long form video of the day. So, I want to talk about one thing and one thing only. So, you see, pre 1960, before the Bible was removed from the school, we were doing good. We were doing good as a society. We were just doing good overall. So, we had the Bible in school. That's great. Staying true to Christian conservatism. So, once we started to remove the Bible from the school, and it's a statistical fact, you can look it up yourself. Crime rate started to rise once we removed the Bible from the school. And you see, the question that now everybody is asking nowadays is, why would a loving God allow so much evil into this world? So, I'm here to answer that question. It says in the beginning of Genesis that God made Adam and God made Eve, and there was the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and then there was just all the other trees that had fruit. It was a plentiful garden, the Garden of Eden. So God said, don't eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, or you'll die. So the serpent, which is Satan, came and deceived Eve, and they ate. Adam and Eve, they ate the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and they didn't die, but they began to be labored. God, when he said, don't eat of the tree of knowledge and good and evil, but you can eat of all of this plentiful fruit, he was saying, he was giving Adam and Eve free will. He was telling them, don't eat of this tree. But he wasn't saying, you have to listen to me. He just said, don't eat of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. So he gave Adam and Eve a choice. You have all of this fruit you can eat right here, and you have this one tree where I don't want you to eat. So obviously we know that Adam and Eve ate. Eve ate it, and then Adam ate it. So that's the fall of humanity right there. So free will exists, and God isn't the one that allowed evil into this world. God allowed free choice. God says that come as you are, which I think that is a very controversial biblical scripture, because in my opinion, you come as you are, but you don't stay as you are if you're trying to have a true walk with Jesus. So you see, free will, God is waiting right here. He wants you to have a personal relationship with him, but it's your choice if you want to have that relationship, or if you want to just walk away and become secular, become a wanderer, whatever you want to call it. So God gives you the free will to be with him or not. So if you choose not to follow God and your life becomes a living hell, and you're just basically in a head down spiral in life, you can't blame God for all of your trouble, but because he gave you an option to follow him. And once you didn't follow him, all this bad stuff happened. So everyone that's blaming God about, oh, like some questions like, why would God let this evil be in this world? Why didn't he heal this person when I was praying for them? Why didn't he do this? Why didn't he do that? God doesn't have to answer you. He answers you on his time. He does what he wants, when he wants, whatever he wants. So you got to understand that you are the one that will, not exactly, but you have the choice to be blessed or not blessed. Live a semi-good life or just a life that's a living hell. You have the choice. God didn't bring evil into this world. It was the sins of Adam and Eve that made humanity sinful. And then it started to trickle down. And then when we took the Bible out of school, that's basically when all hell broke loose, because then everyone else wanted to start saying, okay, let's start following secularism or humanism. these humanists that say that, oh, we're humans, we have the right to make our own decisions, blah, blah, blah. It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard, because it says in Genesis that you were made in God's image. Are you really truly living in God's image? Are you replicating God's image? Obviously, I'm looking at the world right now and I'm seeing this LGBTQ stuff, the gay marriages, all of this stuff. And no, it's not living in God's image. And I watched this interview with Lecrae. He was, I think it was like a month ago or 5 months ago. I have no idea. He was interviewing this, and I'm going to be respectful as I can, this gay Christian man. Apparently, this Christian man. I'm a believer that you can be gay and Christian. You come as you are. You can be homosexual. You can be whatever you want and come to Christianity. But eventually, if you respect God and you respect the Bible, you're going to have to change. So he was interviewing this guy, and he was just talking about how, I forgot which part of the Bible it says it, but it was talking about the 7 abominations that God hates or something like that. And one of them was sexual immorality. And he thought God was calling him an abomination. God, and I just want to make this clear because I didn't watch the full interview. If you are a homosexual, lesbian, gay, you can still come to God. You're not an abomination. God's not calling you an abomination. He's calling the act of homosexuality, the act of lesbianism, the act of being gay. That's what he's calling an abomination. He's not calling you abomination. He's calling the act of that an abomination. God gives you the free will to either follow him or not follow him, to live a good life or a bad life. And see, following God, when you give your life to Jesus, he promises you one thing. He promises you salvation. He doesn't promise an easy path with you. So yes, you can live a good supposed good life without God, but in the end, what does that come out to? It says in the Bible that your life is like a vapor, there for 1 second and then the next it disappears. So all the riches, houses, cars, money you got, it's not going to matter in the end if you just die and go to hell. And I know that's very straight out, but I'm just being completely honest with you. God doesn't promise an easy path of following him. And this is where new Christians are getting this confused. When it gets hard, we run away. We only want to be there when it's easy. No, we need to start facing our fears, being courageous, and standing up for what is true, standing against what is not true, and we need to stay true to our Christian conservative values. Free will is a choice. Will you choose to be with God, or will you choose to be on the world side? Thank you.